So after having my week off of hating football after a week ago last Thursday, this game has refocused my mind because I can't stand United and I want us to win this badly. But can we do it? Can we finish this season undefeated? Welcome to the preview for United versus Forest. Hi guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to the penultimate preview of the season. Ow, I think I've just broken my wrist again. Coming up, we're going to go through the Forest players because there are some potential returns into the squad. There's some players that I don't think will be playing, well, some would say ever again after these next two games. And can we go to Old Trafford and take 3 points? So make sure you've liked, make sure you've subscribed, make sure to check out our second channel, the Footy Network. I got all my predictions on there for this weekend's games. So the link is there for you in the comments. Big up to everyone who's subscribed there as well. All right, let's get into this game. So Pereira's done his presser. And in reality, who are the players he was talking about? Let's start with the injuries. They asked him, and finally, journalists asking actual questions, who's potentially back and who isn't. He said Morgan Gibbs-White has been training. He's been training with his Zorro mask, so he could potentially play. Murillo is basically the way he was talking out for the season. Anyway, Einar won't be playing. The other two that may come back is Sangare and Danendoy. I mean, who cares about Danendoy, right? So those are the three. You got Gibbs, White, Sangare, and who's the other? I've forgotten. Danendoy, sorry. They're the three that could potentially come back into the squad. Whether or not they start remains to be seen. In terms of the opposition, Manchester United, potentially Sesko could be out. I think Casemiro will be back for his farewell goodbye to Old Trafford. And they've got issues, I would say, on the right-hand side, but we'll get into that in a bit. Let's focus on Forest. Now, we saw against Newcastle, Forest played this new style formation, back three with Morato, Cunha and Milenkovic at the back. We saw Backward coming into the team and Taiwo being rotated in for Chris Wood. Now, Chris Wood wasn't spoken about. Chris Wood isn't injured. I just think he's coming back to full match sharpness and match fitness. So we could see potentially Chris Wood starting in this game. But the question is, will Pereira go with the back three or should he go back to the back four? Now, in my opinion, when Forest made their changes in the second half and got back into the game, very late as it was with Anderson, going to the back four for me made more sense. Also, it makes more sense because I don't think we've got enough centre-back cover that we can actually afford to play a back three just in case of an injury, right? Because we've got no one to obviously then come in and replace if you've got Morato, Cunha and Milenkovic on the pitch. Zach Abbott should be close to being back. It's 12 days on the concussion protocol, so I'm sure one of you can do the maths. Has it been 12 days since Villa? Probably there or thereabouts, right? So he should be close to being able to return there. But let's get into the team sheet and let's play around with it a bit. So I think Sells will start in this game because he is the Premier League goalkeeper. This was the team that started last week. You had Milenkovic, Cunha, Morato, Nets, Williams, etc., etc. I really like Nets. I actually think what Pereira should be doing right now is looking at some of these, I don't want to say fringe players, but players that maybe haven't had enough game time this season, having a look at them and assessing over the next game or two, should we be keeping them on for next season? Should these players, do we need, upgrades? Do we need backups in certain positions? And Nets, for me, should be just starting this game and the Bournemouth game going forward so we can get a better feel so there's a run of games of him. So I would actually experiment a little bit in this game, but I would do it in a back four. So obviously I'm going to sacrifice Morato. May come as a surprise to some of you lot. I would go Nets at left back and then I'd go probably Cunha and Milenkovic as the middle two and then bring Williams in at right back. I don't mind that back four at all. I think that back four works. At Old Trafford, it will be fine. Now, in midfield, are there any players we need to have a look at? Well, we know Anderson inside out. We know Dominguez inside out. Is there anyone on the bench potentially that needs looking at? I'd probably say no. So I don't think there's too many changes needed there. You could maybe if you want to, as a real kind of left field thing, bring one of the youth midfielders in, see what they've got about them, see if they're ready to start stepping up into the more senior squad and everything else. Because whether I like it or not, and I don't, we're on the beach. I still want to win this game, but also you have to be looking ahead to what's coming up over the summer and in the new season. So I'd probably stick with Anderson and Dominguez, have Sangare on the bench, see how sharp he is. And then what I would do in the three in front, I'm going to play Bakwa. I'm going to drop Jesus. Jesus has played a lot of games. I'm going to bring McAtee into the 10. And believe it or not, I'm going to bring Ndoye on the left-hand side. Now, let me explain why I'm doing this. Well, I've kind of explained it, right? I want to see, can these players... I would probably start those three across the middle for the next 2 games. I'd have sat them all down and said, we are at the end of the season now. I need to know, as in Pereira, what you guys can actually offer this team with a couple of games run. I want to see how good you are, can you impact the game and everything else. For me, this makes sense for the forward planning. Ndoye, for me, I would get rid of him in the summer, unless he does some crazy stuff over the next 2 games. I've just not been impressed with him. He can play on the left, he can play on the right. And Bakwa, although I would still keep him for next season, I do see a lot of potential in him. I've seen signs over the last couple of games. They've only been 45-minute signs, by the way. He seems to fade away at the moment in the second half. Maybe that's match sharpness, who knows? But I want to see a lot from him. And the one that really needs to be scrutinised is McAtee. There's been pockets throughout the season of seeing McAtee produce something here and there, but nothing consistent enough to say, right, this guy could, let's just say, replace Morgan Gibbs-White if he were to leave or whatever, right? So those are the 3 I want to see across there. And then up front, I'll probably just go with Taiwo. Taiwo scored at Old Trafford before. I think he got 2 couple of seasons back. I seem to remember. Didn't he score 2 early goals or something? So I'll probably go with Taiwo. And that would be the team I do. Now, in terms of other players that he needs to have a look at, there's not too many. We know what Hutchinson's going to bring. Know what Jesus is going to bring. I'd bring maybe Gibbs-White on for the second half, get him some minutes. I would, however, be surprised if Gibbs-White is fit if he doesn't start him, because I think Gibbs-White will be chomping at the bits to get 180 minutes in over the next 2 games to have that final push towards the England squad. On top of that as well, big up to Gibbs-White. He's been nominated for Player of the Year. So he's going to need that hype train to continue on for Tuchel to have a look at him. So I wouldn't be surprised if McAtee was dropped, or, in fact, something that I think, and that was my team, by the way, but if I think what Pereira is going to do, he may go something like this. He may drop Jesus, rest him because he's played a lot of games, put Gibbs-White in the 10, Bakwa on the right, and then McAtee on the left, or Ndoye on the left if he's sharp enough. That way Gibbs-White gets his minutes and maybe and should be put on the old plane going to the World Cup. So something like that, I think, is what we're going to see. Is that good enough to beat Manchester United? Hell yeah, absolutely. How do I see this one going? Well, Man U are 3rd in the league. People are bigging up what Carrick's done. People are bigging up Bruno Fernandes and all this stuff. Honestly, I just think they're there by default. Is that me being bitter and sour because I don't like them? Maybe. But. Old Trafford is still a hard ground to go to. We've won there a handful of times over the last 35, 40 years, whatever it's been. I just think they're on the beach as well. That's the thing we need to take into account. This is their final home game of the season. They're going to put a performance out for their home fans. So I think it will be a competitive game. But I do just think with the form we're in the league, forget the Europa League and what happened with Villa, we're still undefeated. That last minute equaliser from Anderson last week kept Forest streak going in the Premier League. And I would like to see us finish this season on a high with 2 wins or 4 points, something like that, over our next 2 games. And if we can screw Bournemouth over next week, so much the better. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I think there will be a slight element of beachiness to it. I'm going to go 1 apiece. But I think we are going to put out a good performance. And Man U will probably get some VAR, Manchester United style. You just can't avoid it. Some weird penalty or red card like we saw with Worrell before. So that's my prediction. Get yours in the comments. Go check out my predictions for the rest of the Premier League games. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. And we'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.